Hello guys, welcome to my video series tutorial to talk about Microsoft Semantic Kernel. In this video, I'm going to discussing the prompt template concept in Semantic Kernel. In general, Semantic Kernel support two type of template we can create in runtime. One is for default Semantic Kernel template and another one for handlebar template. The Semantic Kernel template serves a default template for Semantic Kernel, and we can include support certain built-in functions or plugin also. We can do that in Semantic Kernel. This we can discuss already in our first video. In Hello World application, I used this Semantic Kernel default template. There I just created only the template to pass our prompt. Here I used this one. The summarize the context of the following text, the input, the runtime, the input replaced with the user input. Then we process it. This is a Semantic Kernel default template. In this video, I'm going to discuss on handlebar template. So there are a lot of advantages to use this handlebar template. For example, in Semantic Kernel template, it won't support looping, or you can create the custom functions that it won't support in Semantic Kernel template. Handlebar template it support. Let's start how to implement this feature. So in this example, I'm going to take our previous example only. For example, if I go to our last program, location, here the history, I used escape prompt. Here I define our prompt, and configuration settings, we define all the configuration. These two files, I'm going to create runtime using this handlebar template. Let's switch to program.cs file. In the first step, you have to install the NuGet package. So if you go to the dependency package, here you can see the Microsoft Semantic Kernel prompt templates.handlebar. This NuGet package must be installed to use this feature. I have already installed this one. So I start writing the program. Here I'm going to create one new function, private static void create handlebars template. To create the handlebar template, we have to use the prompt template config class. So prompt template config, variable name prompt template config. So new. The first step, we have to specify the template format. If you go to here, you can see the argument template format. We have to specify what type of template we are going to use. So we are going to use handlebar template only. So here handlebars template factory dot handlebar format. So we have to specify our template format, handlebar prompt template factory, handlebar template format. So this is specified. The next step, we have to specify the template name. So name of this template I called as prompt history. The next, we have to specify the description. So description I specified here. Retrieve history for recognized location. Summaries in 2 lines. This is just for description. And if you go to this config file, we specified our description, and we have to specify the settings that I'll come later. The input variable we have to specify. Program.cs file. Here I'm going to specify input variable. So that in the prompt template config has a list of input variables properties there. So this we have to use to specify our input. So here So new input variable name is input. You can use anything. I just keep the same name here because the config file use the input name is this one input, so I used the same. The description also I just copy this one and I add here. Next description. The next property is required true. So this property is must. That's it. So our input is ready. The only one left out, that is in the settings. To assign these settings, there is another property called execution settings. This is a dictionary. So here we have to specify our settings. So this one, the name key. So I use the key as a default, and I'm going to use Azure OpenAI settings. New of OpenAI prompt execution settings. I'm going to specify max token. I'm going to use just for 20, and temperature 0.7. That's it. So the rest of the parameter is not required because the rest of the parameter I specified only the 0 only. So our main prompt template config is ready. The next changes we have to do for this escape prompt. So this information I should add here. For that, I'm going to use the handlebar features. As I mentioned earlier, handlebar support looping, custom helper, and other features. So here I'm going to use those features to implement this escape prompt concept. To implement this feature, we have to use handlebar template option, and options equal to new of. Here I'm going to use this register custom helper action. So I have already prepared. I just copy paste this one. That's it. So we'll correct that issue. Yeah, there is one more. Fine. So here I created the template 1 and template 2. Finally, I concatenate the arguments. This in the runtime I show this one. This is not needed. I just define only the var result string.empty. That's it. Yeah. So our config JSON here we use this prompt template config to generated, and the escape prompt we use this handlebar prompt template option to generate this escape prompt. So far our settings only is ready. We not yet created the handlebar prompt template. So the next step, we are going to create this template. For that we have to use handlebars prompt template factory. Here we called as handlebar prompt, just prompt we use. No, we make a template. Template, new. The first argument is a default argument, but we used this handlebar prompt template option to create our escape prompt. So we have to pass this argument. So here I pass this argument options. So our template is ready. Finally, we have to create the template to use this configuration. So here use where, yeah. So handlebar template create, we have to pass the prompt template config. Our template is ready. I do one more changes. This function should return this template. So this return type is interface prompt template. So I change this here. Instead of void, I use I prompt template. That's it. So no need to assign this one. Just return it. Fine. So here, first step, I go to call the template, create a prompt template. So where handlebars template, new of create handlebar template. Okay. So we have to pass a user input. So this is user input we have to pass to this template to complete our template is ready, because this input has to be replaced. Which one? This input variable. So this one has to replace with this user input that we have to pass. So where prompt template equal to await handlebar template dot render. This API we have to call to render our input to the prompt. So the first argument is a kernel. So I pass my kernel variable kernel builder. The second argument is a user input. Further, we have to use the kernel arguments, new of kernel arguments. So here we have to specify that input is a user input. That's it. So this is a await function. We have to change this also async, and here return type task. So our template is ready. Once template is ready, we have to invoke. So here kernel execution where function result equal to await kernel builder dot invoke prompt async function we have to use. So here we have to pass our template. So prompt template here I pass, and finally we get the result. So console dot write line function result dot get value string. That's it. So here I just stop the application here, read line. And one more changes I do after execute this one, change the color so that we can see the output clearly. Should be green. First I run the application. When we see the result, the next step I put the breakpoint and explain how this template has been prepared. So we run this application. Application has started. Remove the breakpoint. Run. Oops, bug. It's a bug. The value cannot be empty string or composed parameter name. The problem here is the value cannot be empty because here we specified is required true, but whatever we pass the value input is not properly passed and prepare the template. So the problem here is In the template, we have to specify which helper class should call and what are the arguments should be passed. That is missing in this prompt template config. So we have to assign that one. Here I assign this one. Template. Here I specified that template is a history, and pass the input to this function. That's it. So restart the application. Now we get the result. So as I mentioned, I put the breakpoint. We go with the debug mode. We see how it is working. So I put the breakpoint here. This one register class. This is not required because this is just a settings class. Prepare our configuration. So here the runtime, we prepare the real prompt. That's the reason I put the breakpoint here. And I add one more breakpoint here. Again, we restarted the application. So far, this function not yet called. Here we just only prepared the template. The first function prepared only the template. Once we initiate this render function, we pass the required arguments. This time, this register custom helper class get function get invoked and render the result. So continue. Here you can see now this function get hit. Arguments, at the moment we passed only one argument here, the input. So whatever the input assigned here, just pass to here. Which function? History function that we registered here. History function, this is the argument. Here you can see this value only we passed there in the render function. We passed please let me know information of Bangalore. So the template one, this one first things, and once the template, this is a template 2, all are concatenate with the one value, the string result. This information we are going to return. So I put one more breakpoint here, prompt template, continue. Here you can see the complete information. So this information passed to the Azure OpenAI to get the result. This exactly we do in our config and escape prompt file. Free. I hope you can understand how to use handlebar prompt template in Semantic Kernel. Thanks to all.